Okay, let's dive in. Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take all that noise, the stats, the articles, the predictions, and just boil it down to what you really need to know.
And today we are jumping headfirst into the AFT Season 11 mid-season madness. We've got a mountain of data on round 8, which was just, explosive. And we're setting the stage for what some are calling the New Year kickoff fireworks.
Right, so our mission today is pretty simple, but it's also, I think, pretty challenging. We're going to process the scores, make sense of a ladder that is just impossibly tight, and then look at what comes next.
Absolutely, because every single point, every percentage swing, it all matters so much more right now. And round 8 really set that stage. I mean, you had the biggest upset of the season on one hand.
And on the other, a classic four-point nail-biter.
Exactly. That's Season 11 in a nutshell.
That's the perfect hook. So let's get right into it, into the drama of round 8. We had to start with that massive shock, the one result that really throws a wrench in everything. I'm talking about Essendon.
Yeah, Essendon's 68-point demolition of Port Adelaide at Marvel. It wasn't just an upset, it was a statement.
I mean, a 68-point margin is staggering.
It is. Essendon finished with 18.14, that's 122 points, while Port just sputtered to 8.6, only 54. Considering where both teams were on the ladder, that's the shock of the year.
But okay, the question for anyone listening is how? How does that happen?
Yeah.
It's one thing to see the score, but what went so wrong for Port?
Well, the sources are pointing to two things. First, Port just got smashed in contested ball. They didn't show up. And second, Essendon's efficiency.
Clinical.
It was absolutely clinical inside 50. They turned every scrap they got into a goal while Port just couldn't convert. It was a complete system failure.
So that gave Essendon the biggest win of the round. Now, let's flip to the other end of the spectrum, the MCG.
The Heartstopper. Geelong over Richmond by just 4 points. The final was 114 to 110, and this was a classic example of how a tiny flaw can just, unravel under pressure.
I'm looking at Geelong's scoreline here. 16 goals, 18 behinds. They kicked 18 behinds. I mean, that's just leaving the door wide open for Richmond.
It is, and it tells you everything about where Geelong's at right now. They're winning on pure grit on their system, but their finishing is a huge worry, a massive red flag.
So they snatched the victory, but
they also gave every other team a blueprint on how to beat them. Just hang on, apply pressure, and wait for their forwards to get nervous.
wow, what a contrast. Okay, so from high anxiety to just pure firepower. The GWS Giants.
The Giants were just relentless. They put up the highest score of the round, 22.1C, and that's 149 points, in a 48-point thrashing of the Bulldogs.
149 points.
Yeah, and that score is what gives them such a massive advantage in the percentage race we're about to get into. It's just pure, overwhelming attack.
And we can't forget the Gold Coast Suns, right? A huge road win in Perth.
A massive road scalp, stunning the West Coast Eagles, 95 to 75. For a team like Gold Coast, that's more than just a win. It's a mental breakthrough. It proves they can do it on the road.
So, to recap the winners, Collingwood, Essendon, Gold Coast, Brisbane, GWS, Hawthorn, Geelong, St. Kilda, and Freo.
And you have to mention St. Kilda. They bounced back in a big way.
They really did.
Smashed the Adelaide Crows by 42 points. After a couple of shaky weeks, that was them saying, we're still here, we're the real deal. And that win gives them some breathing room at the top of what is, frankly, a terrifying ladder.
Terrifying is absolutely the right word. When we say it's tight, we are not exaggerating.
Not at all. So you've got St. Kilda sort of on an island at the top. They're first. 6 wins, 2 losses, 24 points. They've earned that spot.
But then, there's the mosh pit.
The mosh pit. And look, from ranks 2 all the way down to 9, that's 8 teams. 8. And they are all on the exact same record.
8 teams tied for second place.
8 teams. The Crows, Giants, Fremantle, Richmond, West Coast, Hawthorn, Brisbane, and Geelong, all on 5 wins, 3 losses, all on 20 points.
That's just, that's insane. So we don't really have a top 4. We have a top 1 and then a complete battle royale for every other spot.
Precisely. And it means the rest of the season is now all about the granular stuff. It's about percentages. It's not just about winning. It's about how you win.
Okay, so let's break that down. Within that 5 and 3 group, who's got the edge?
Well, you look at Richmond. They're sitting 5th. And even with that close loss, they've scored the most points of anyone in that group. 902 points.
So their offense keeps them afloat.
It's their buffer. It gives them a healthy percentage. But then you look at the team that just beat them, Geelong, they're all the way down in 9th.
How is that possible with the same record?
Their percentage, it's below 100. It's 97.42, the lowest in that whole group. They're winning, but they're not winning big enough.
Yeah.
That 4-point thriller, doesn't help your percentage nearly as much as, say, GWS scoring 149 points.
So Geelong is just hanging on by a thread.
By the thinnest of threads. One bad loss, and they could plummet right out of the top 9, even with a winning record.
So we should watch Richmond for firepower, but Geelong for what? Just pure volatility.
Exactly. And every single game between any of those 8 teams is now a massive swing.
And what about the teams just below that, the ones trying to climb back in?
Well, you've got that group at 3 wins and 5 losses. Melbourne, Essendon, Carlton, Port Adelaide. They're 3 games back. They have to start winning now or they're done. Port especially needs to recover from that thrashing.
And then the teams at the bottom, the Bulldogs, Swans, North Melbourne, they're in real strife.
They're on 2 and 6. For them, it's not even about finals anymore. It's about showing they can still compete, which brings us to the round 9 preview, the New Year's kickoff.
Right, scheduled for this Friday, January 2nd. This is where we're going to see that mosh pit start to separate. So let's get into the predictions.
Yeah.
What's the lock of the round?
The lock, according to the sources, is St. Kilda. They're number 1, and they're facing the struggling Sydney Swans. The prediction is pretty clear, St. Kilda to win by 31 points.
31. So they expect them to just, what, choke the life out of the Swans?
Completely, just shut them down, solidify their spot at the top.
Okay, a lock is good. But what about an upset? Does the new year start with a shock?
It might, and this is a big call. The Gold Coast Suns are being tipped to upset Melbourne at the MCG.
Hold on a minute. Melbourne at the G, and they're desperate for a win. The Suns just had a good road trip, but
yeah,
a 14-point win for Gold Coast. That's a confident prediction.
It is. And the reasoning isn't really about stats, it's about psychology.
Go on.
The sources suggest Melbourne is fragile right now. They can't defend fastball movement, and the Suns are riding this huge wave of confidence after that win in Perth. The prediction is that Gold Coast's momentum will just break Melbourne's anxiety.
So it's a mental game. That's a must-watch then. All right, what about the battles inside the mosh pit? Brisbane versus Fremantle, both 5 and 3.
This is a classic. Brisbane's at the Gabba, and the prediction is heavily in their favor. They're expected to make it a fortress and win by 22 points.
22 points is a comfortable margin, so they're expected to really control that game.
And grab a big percentage boost. That's the key.
Okay, what about the firepower of GWS against the chaos of Hawthorn?
GWS is predicted to win that one, but only by 9 points. It suggests they think the Giants' scoring ability will just barely overcome Hawthorn's unpredictability.
And Geelong. They need that percentage booster you were talking about.
And the sources think they're going to get it. They're playing Carlton at home at GMHBA Stadium. The prediction is a 28-point win for the Cats.
A 28-point margin would do wonders for that 97%.
It would immediately make it look a lot healthier. Puts pressure right back on everyone else.
All right, let's get to the one match that everyone really needs to be watching. The one that could define the top 4 race for the next month.
This is absolutely the game of the round. Adelaide Crows versus Richmond at Adelaide Oval. Both teams are 5 and 3. Both are coming off tight losses.
The stakes cannot be higher. The winner makes a real top 4 statement. The loser, well, the loser could fall right out of the top 8.
It's a true do-or-die game, and the prediction reflects that. It's incredibly tight. Richmond is tipped to win, but only by 7 points.
7 points, so it's a toss-up.
It's basically a coin flip. The prediction leans on Richmond's, superior offense against Adelaide's home ground advantage. It's a game that will probably be decided in the last few minutes.
Wow. If Richmond pulls that off away from home, that's a huge statement.
It would be. And the volatility doesn't stop there. Essendon is predicted to keep what they're calling the zombie train rolling with a 12-point win over North Melbourne.
And Collingwood, the Eagles.
Collingwood are being called the Heist Kings. They're predicted to beat the Bulldogs by 19 points. And West Coast is tipped for a bounce back, beating a shattered Port Adelaide by a tight 8 points at home.
So when you put all of that together, the round 8 chaos, the mosh pit, these round 9 predictions, what's the one key takeaway for everyone listening?
That there is just an astonishing lack of margin for error in Season 11. The difference between being a contender and being in free fall is almost non-existent for, 14 teams. That Adelaide versus Richmond game is the perfect example of that pressure.
Every single goal in that match will feel like it's worth double when you think about the percentage swings. You have to watch not just who wins, but by how much.
Exactly. And I'll leave you with this final provocative thought from our source material. As you get ready for 2026, it says to expect at least 2 50-plus blowouts in round 9.
2 50-point blowouts, so chaos confirmed for the new year.
It suggests the gap between the true elites, like St. Kilda and the teams in crisis, is about to get a whole lot wider. The takeaway is clear. Season 11 never sleeps. And the new year isn't bringing resolutions, it's bringing devastation.